Alright, g'day guys, welcome back tonight to another Campaign Cartographer 3 video. Tonight I'm going to try something a little bit new. We're going to be playing around with the Cosmographer 3 add-on. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, this is what you use when you don't want to map fantasy worlds. So your dungeons, your inns, your regional worlds, the things that most of us are used to making. There is another world to our RPG world, and that is obviously sci-fi, space, all that sort of loveliness. I've not personally played it myself, but I've recently got my hands on Cosmographer 3, and I have really been enjoying making maps for it. So I thought I would jump in here and create a video for you guys to show you how you can use this add-on to make your own spaceships for your sci-fi games. Say you're playing Starfinder and you want to make a custom spaceship, you want to go along and purchase that and your GM lets you, you could use this application to pretty quickly whip up a map. So this is going to be a pretty lengthy video. I'm going to try and walk you through the whole process of creating a map, just to let you guys sort of see how it goes. So without further ado, let's jump over to Campaign Cartographer, running the Cosmographer 3 app, and see what happens. Alright, so in front of me you can see I've got Campaign Cartographer 3 running. You can see it's still got the previous map from the last video I made. We're going to go File and New, having installed the add-ons already, and I will expect that you guys have done that. And we can see in here that we've got a new option for Cosmographer. Alright, so we'll click Next. Now, Cosmographer doesn't just make ships. It's basically your one-stop shop for anything space. So if I just slowly scroll through here, you can see there is a number of different map styles to allow you to make different types of maps. Now, I've not played with the majority of these yet, but some of them look fantastic, and I'm really keen to sort of give it a go. There's certainly a lot of sort of space stuff with planets and things like that. But for tonight's purpose, what we're going to do is we're going to jump in here and we're going to grab the Cosmographer deck plan bitmap. Now, this is the primary style, from what I can tell, for making spaceships. There are obviously other ones. There's the Traveller one. It's obviously an older style. I assume there's an entire fan base behind that. And there is the Vector style as well. Personally, I'm not a fan of the vectors. It feels a bit of an old style. The artwork isn't as sort of attention drawing as the bitmaps, so I prefer this as a more high quality style. So we're going to use that tonight. Alright, we'll go through and create our map size. I'm just going to create something small, probably too small even. I would go 100 by 100. I'm going to call it something really original. It's going to be my spaceship. And here we get to pick the background. So we can actually come in here and click the different star fields we want. There we go. Nice starry night. Click finish and we'll just save this. We'll call it my spaceship. And then that then saves and basically brings us in. So I'm going to hold my middle mouse button and move my map around in order to sort of move it on my screen. Alright, I'm going to use my mouse button to scroll in and out of the map, and as you can see that works quite well. And I can zoom in then on the basically blank piece of paper that I'm going to work with. Now, CC3 Plus is a pretty overwhelming tool the first time you use it. So let's step by step the way I would make a map. I've got my background here. You can see I've got the deck 1 go to, I've got deck 2, well I don't have a deck 2 yet, but I could have if I wanted. I'm going to start by drawing a grid, okay, because if I'm playing something like Starfinder, I want a grid for my players to be able to move their miniatures on. Or if you're using a VTT, maybe move their tokens on. So I'm going to go draw, and go hex or square overlay. Alright, the options come up. Now you can see here there's all sorts of different types of grids you can use in CC3+. I'm going to use the square grid. I'm going to turn off the labeling and I'm going to come in here, I'm going to make my grid spacing 5. 5, think of it like feet. 5 feet, 1 grid, 10 feet, 2, you know. I'm sure you're, if you play your RPGs, you're pretty common with that. That draws the map in. Alright. From here we're going to basically decide on what we're going to do next, and that is obviously going to be to draw the spaceship. Now there's probably people go, oh that probably is quite difficult, but Cosmographer 3 has these cool options up here. So you'll see if you hold your mouse over the draw hull button, you can click that and then you can draw. But if you right click it, you get more options. So if we go through and have a look here, we'll have a look at our options. What are we going to look for? We're going to look for, I'm going to go for a hull speeder light. Alright, now this is a tool that's going to basically make a mirror image of what I do. So as I draw, it's going to mirror image it as I do, and it's probably hard to explain, but watch what I do here. I'm going to click over here in the middle. I'm going to design my ship. I kind of want this to be, I'm going to make something like a bit like a Starfinder. I don't know, this is probably going to be ugly, but speed is what we're after tonight. There we go. So as you can see, that didn't take me very long at all. I basically just put some points in, and what I was doing is I was clicking. So I clicked here, I clicked here, clicked here, clicked here, clicked here, and went around. So just to show you that again, I click, I move it to where I want, I click, I move it to where I want, I click, I move it to where I want, I click, and then once I'm finished, I right click, and it fills it in. I'm going to press Control Z now and just undo out of that. I'll go back to my shape here. I just want to move this though. I can see it's lining up the deck 1, and I just want to move it 1 square forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the move tool, which is over here. Now with most tools over here, you can right click it and you can get more options. Alright, so if you click it, you get the top one by default. I'm going to click that, I'm going to get the move. Now with the move tool, you need to click the edge of something. So I'm going to click the edge of my shape. I'm going to right click, do it. I'm going to click. That then starts the movement, and I'm going to position that on my map. There we go. Now, for anyone who's new to CC3+, the white border has probably scared the hell out of you. You'd be like, oh, why have I made 2 shapes? Don't worry, it's just basically CC3+ does not refresh on every mouse click in order to save system resources. You can do it manually. Up here on the right hand, just hit that button. It's just refreshes and it's gone. It's just the way the program's designed, just to make it easier. And you might say, oh, that's pretty stupid, why doesn't it do it? You really need to work with a large map to understand that. Okay, so we've basically gone in here and we've put our position in, and now it's time to start drawing things in. So let's have a look. What options have we got for floors? We got a grid. Yeah, alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in some symbols to sort of indicate, you know, what this thing is. I'm going to draw on a floor. We're going to put some things in the floor for us to work on, and we'll see how we go from there. So up here we've got the buttons for the symbol catalogs, and if we select through them, you can see you've got one for basically corridors and passageways, you've got staircases, you've got doors, you've got command stations, you've got engineering stations. What's that? I think it's weaponry. Now it's not going to show me. Come on, there, weapon systems. Next one's pipe and cables, furniture, medical systems, cargo, personal items, and space geomorphs, which I don't have any installed at the moment actually. Alright, so what have we got here? We have to go through, and I think every spaceship sort of needs an engine. I'll just click through these different things until I get an understanding of what they offer me. Yep, there's a thruster, there's a dual thruster. I think a dual thruster would work quite well here. You'll see here what I'm doing is I'm holding down control and I'm moving my mouse in and out. You'll see that's changing the shape of everything. Now you'll see here quite quickly that it is it's snapping to the squares. I don't want that. I want to kind of make this perfect. So I'm going to come down here to the right hand. I'm going to turn off snap. And now I can move things however I like, which is important. I'm going to use my lines to line up where this is going. Need to go a little bit smaller. I think I'm just about happy with that. Become a bit of a perfectionist over the times. Did I get that right? Probably not. Pretty close. I'm just holding control here and scrolling my mouse in and out just to have a look. Overall, I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. I think that gives me a nice engine. Alright, now, I want to kind of put another thruster in here. What I did there with my symbol selected is I right click to bring up the options for the symbol parameters. You can see how it says 0.45749. That's the scale. So what it means is that has been scaled down, and the reason why it did that is I scaled the previous symbol down to that range, so it's copying it. I can just go set normal and click more, and it brings it back to the normal size. So it can be quite handy in order to sort of get control of that. And we might just throw this. Just give us a resize. Hands are getting old. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. So I'm going to come over to the copy tool, I'm going to click it, I'm going to select the edge of the symbol, I'm going to right click, do it, then I click, creates a copy, one square across, and I can come in here and I can stick that down nicely. Alright, so now I've got two engines for my spaceship. Don't really like the shape, but we're doing a tutorial, what does it matter? Okay, we need to come down and put a deck plan in. Okay, so this is going to be where we're basically walking along this thing. So what I've done is I'm right clicking on the deck plan button, which brings me up my deck plan options. I'm going to have a look here at the different variations. So we've got a deck plan chrome, got some lattice, got some plastic. I might use the plastic. I'm going to turn my snap on. Alright, so this way this just makes this a lot easier. I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to come in here. That would be my wings technically. And you know what, I probably could have used that tool that creates a mirror image of this if I wanted. There we go. So I've drawn in my deck plan. Alright, you might be looking at this going, well that looks a bit stupid. We could actually turn on the special effects and it will look better. Alright. So just be aware of that. I'll turn that off and I'll go through what the special effects are and how to turn them on afterwards. Alright, so we've got a deck plan. Now we need a wall. Alright, because obviously we don't want us to just be walking around in space. Let's use a polished 0.5, and I'm just gonna, well, actually I'm gonna start that again and I'll explain why. This is just something that comes with experience. Don't ever start a wall on a corner. Start on a flat, and by that I mean a straight line, and start in the middle of that straight line. So I've used the wall tool, I've right clicked, I've found the wall I'm going to use. Then I'm going to select here in the middle of a straight line and I click, 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 clickety, clickety, click all the way around. I go back to my point where I started, then I right click, you'll see I've got a wall. I can turn my special effects on, so click the button up here, click activate special effects, just to see if I'm happy with that. Yep, that's coming through nicely. Now your system will run slower with special effects on. Depends on how powerful your machine is. Mine is not good enough. Okay, alright, so now to get creative, we've created our spaceship. I guess we need a way in and out of it. So let's start with a door. Going to create our cargo doors, closed. Where's an airlock door? Airlock door. No, let's go cargo doors. I'm going to go set normal. So I right clicked, set normal. Got the nice cargo doors in there, so that'll be a way to sort of bring things in. I kind of want to finish that cargo bay as well, so I'm going to bring my wall tool up by right clicking again. I'm going to click and click across, then right click once done. Press escape to get out of that tool. Yep, pretty happy with that. And now we can start filling it in. So if this is a cargo bay, let's say I'm like a pirateer or something and I'm running cargo, I'll use the cargo button and I'll go through and look for some nice drums maybe. I'll turn my snap off so that I can position these how I like. Now just be aware that CC3 Plus symbols can be quite powerful, so you can actually change the colors for some of them. Alright, so if you click this drop down here, you can even see different variations of the color. Cool. You can hold down shift and move your mouse to rotate things, just like you can hold your control and move your mouse up and down to increase the size of things. So just be aware that those tools exist. I'm going to put some nice crates in. Oh, it's a big crate. Will that get through the door? These are the sort of things you start to think about the more experienced you get, is, you know, can I realistically get this stuff in and out of where I'm putting it in? There we go, and I reckon we need whatever this is. Just holding control and moving my mouse up and down just to make that move. There we go. And I kind of don't think that the floor works for my storage area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click over here onto my drawing tool, which is the hull drawing tool, or deck plan, sorry. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to find something that's a bit more appropriate for something like this. So I've found one, I've clicked it, I'm going to turn my snap on while my tool is active. I'm going to click on the corners of each. I'm going to right click once I'm done. I'll refresh it, and now we've got a more sort of industrial feel for our floor. Cool. Alright, so now we're getting up to the stage where we need somewhere for our space pilot to sit. So, what have we got? We've got a life support unit. I guess we should all have a life support unit on a spaceship. Click one of those in. I'm going to put a reader in here just because, you know, why not? Alright, let's have a look. So, someone needs to fly this thing. What have we got? Quite like this. Alright, so that was just basically, you know, holding my shift in order to turn things around, positioning it how I like, using control, you know, just to position it. I've got it there. Now I basically need to put a chair in. I'm going to right click and go set normal just to make sure the size is right. I'm going to put it there. Alright, pressing escape to get out of that. Now, this is an interesting one. My chair is on top of my desk. That's not cool. I could have put the chair down first and the desk on top of it, and that would basically be a way to control that. But, you know, you're not always going to be perfect with your laying of symbols. So why does it do this? To understand this, you need to understand sheets. All right, sheets dictate what symbols go on top of others. In this case here, these are both two symbols. All right, and symbols is the sheet that they're on. So symbols here. And if I was to hide this symbol sheet and click apply, you'll see that those two things disappear, just like everything else did over here. And that's because everything on those has gone to the symbol sheet. Okay, so what I can do here is basically make this one go underneath this one. And this only works when both of the symbols are on the same sheet. Okay, so what I can do is I can come over here to the right, and I can use the send to back button, and I can click the edge of the chair, right click, do it. Alright, it refreshes and now the chair is under the desk. So those tells are really cool, and just be aware of it. You might be asking yourself, scratching your head going, how do I know what sheet they're on? You can type list in to the bottom left hand corner here. Alright, you can see I type whatever I want, but if I type list and press enter, I can select things. So I'm going to select both the chair and the desk. I've got the grid selected as well. I can hold control and just draw something else out to select what I want to remove as well. So you can see I've only got 2 entities picked. Once I've got what I want picked, I can right click and do it. And it brings up this window that says, alright, we're on the sheet symbols. On there we have 2 objects. They're both on the layer 268, which is furnishings, and these are the details of them. Alright, so that's how I can tell that they're both on the symbol sheet. And you'll see here that if I typed in list, press do it again, I'll select the desk, the wall, the floor, the grid, everything. You can see here I've got the deck sheet, I've got the bulkhead sheet, I've got the grid sheet with all sorts of stuff on it because it's mapping the grid out. And then down at the bottom here, I think I should have a sheet somewhere, the symbol sheet. There we go, symbols. Highly useful tool. But anyway, we've got the chair underneath the desk. That was the objective of what we were trying to achieve. So we've got somewhere for them to fly. I'm going to put whatever this is here, just to give it a full desk fact. Just thinking if we need to make it more complex than it is, but not really. If I change the colors. We go, extra computer just for the sake of it. And as you can see, I can put down whatever I like here. I'm going to put down a screen that displays all the information that he needs. I've always figured that it's spaceships, they're probably not watching actually out a window at that stage. An airlock? Do we need an airlock? No, probably not. I do need a door between my 2 bits here, so I'm going to basically bring open a door. I'm going to right click, go set normal just to get the right size of the door, and that is way too big. Do I need a door that big? Sure we don't. That's better. Alright, what else can go into our spaceship? Let's have a look here. Probably some weapons. Or a tractor beam. Tractor beams are cool. Everyone needs a tractor beam. Really don't like the pink actually, so I'm just going to change that color. Just to be more in line with where I think that would be. Match it up. Here we go. I think we need some weaponry on this thing for sure. I'll make some big weaponry. Alright, now I want to create this on the other wing as well. I want to replicate it. And if you manage this out, you see that there isn't actually one for the same area. Alright, so how do we fix that? I'm going to put it down here. That's another variation of it. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to right click the move button. I'm going to click mirror. Then I'm going to select the entity just by clicking on the edge or highlighting it. Then right click, do it. Then I'm going to click the object and I'm going to move my mouse. I'm going to make sure that the line between where I started and where I am now is invisible, because that means the lines are lined up perfectly. I'm going to click and you'll see that I mirrored the object. Then I'm going to move it. So I select it, right click, do it, click and move. I'm going to hold shift to rotate that around. And then I'm going to come down here and position it. There we go. Now we've got two guns, one facing either way. As you can see, that's really not hard to do. It's just, you know, CC3 Plus doesn't make it easy for you to find all these things sometimes. What else do we need? I feel like this guy would need somewhere to pass out, maybe. I mean, probably not. Maybe just a way to transport people. Probably not necessary for something this big. We should have a cargo. Just a cupboard, just to put things in. Everyone needs a place to put things from. I feel like if I was going to go into space, I would want a pot plant, because, you know, that'll keep me happy. And we'll put a chest in here just in case anyone wants to come in and rob the place. Alright, now the one thing I did is I put the chair in. I'm not really too happy about that, so I'm just going to select the delete button. I'm going to click the edge of the symbol, right click, do it, that gets rid of it. I'll click the refresh button to refresh that. I do want to put the chair in, but I don't know, it just wasn't the right size. So I'm going to click it again. I'm going to right click and go set normal and more. Now it's the right size and it feels a bit more realistic. There we go, it's a bit better. Alright, any cool stuff in here? Ooh. That's a cooler chair. So if we need a cooler chair like that. Let's do this though. Let's put a medical kind of thing in here. Once again, holding shift to sort of move it. I'll come this way, just so you can see the effect if you're on the map. Alright. Do we need anything else? Yeah, let's put a symbol on the floor. Now, there we go. I'm going to click refresh. And what I'm going to do now is I'm pretty happy with this. I mean, I've created a very quick spaceship. I'm going to see what the special effects look turned on. So I come up here to the special effects, or sorry, the sheets button, and I click activate sheets and I click OK. And you can see that instantly looks cooler. Now, one thing that stands out to me as I look at this is that my floor symbol has a shadow. I want to turn that off. So I'm going to click the change properties button, which is this little paint box over here. If you right click it, you can see all the different options it's got. We're going to go change properties. I'm going to select the edge of this symbol. I'm going to right click, do it. I'm going to change this to the symbol's flat. Actually, symbol's floor, let's try that. Then if I refresh, you'll see I no longer have a shadow because it's now painted on the floor. Alright, so that works really well. What else is missing? Standout thing would be I do not have anything coming out of my turrets. So let's come up here, let's have a look at the draw hull. We'll right click, we'll come down and see what tools they've got available. Is this all hull? Yes, this is all hull. I know one of these. There we go. So that's engineering conduits. Right click, and that has a engine glow. Now I kind of want to change that engine glow, so I'm going to try something red. Then right click again, and you can see that changed color because it's a variation pattern. And now this is going to let me draw in what I want. My snaps on. I'm just drawing like a little shape here. There we go. Now you'd be like, why are you drawing houses? That looks ridiculous. Don't draw houses. See, when it refreshed, the special effects took over. That's why you draw houses. I'll explain why that works in a minute. There we go. I'll click this button here, it'll zoom out. And I can see that I've got my nice red engine bays there. I quite like the look of that. So, you know what? We've been recording now for, I can't even tell, to be honest. 31 minutes. And in 31 minutes, we've got a pretty usable map for a spaceship. We could certainly come in and add some labels. But just before we do that, let's go through and just show you why some cool things happened. If we go to the Sheets button, you can see special effects special effects were activated. If we go through and we have a look at what was basically on our map, so symbols will get a drop shadow, the hull will get a bevel and a glow, the walls should be here somewhere. The walls don't get, that's actually symbols. Alright, the bulkhead, sorry, that's walls, they get a bevel and a glow. Alright, so sheets are where your special effects are on, and you can change these, for example. So if you wanted your hull to have no glow, you could turn them off, click apply, and you can see the glow disappears. You could apply just some different glow effects. There we go. Well, that's where the special effects come from. Alright, let's create a quick label for our map. And to do this, I'm going to bring up the spaceship name generator from fantasynamegenerators.com. I use this quite regularly just to sort of grab quick names. I'll just click this 10 times and see what comes up. There we go, woodpecker. I'm going to call this the woodpecker. I'm going to use the text tool. I'm going to click that. Comes up and I can paste my text in. I'm going to click multi-line and I type and type shift enter to go a space. That's now the woodpecker. I'm going to select my properties and go more fonts. I'll just go through until I find something that looks like the woodpecker should look. They're all pretty ugly. There's something futuristic. Now, I've made that in red. Actually, I quite like that because that matches the one of the colors on the map. Come put that there. Click refresh. All right. So my map's basically complete. I don't really want this deck stuff going on, so I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to hold control and select my grid again because I selected that. I'm going to right click, do it. That's now gone. Alright, my woodpecker's now there. Fantastic. So I can now go File, Save As, and I could export this as a PNG or a JPEG. I usually use rectangular section PNG. You save it as the name that you want. I'm in CC3 plus. I go back in, put it here. I call it the woodpecker. Click save, and now you'll see that I can now basically select the area that I want to export, and now the export will begin. Now, the export will take a fair bit of time, but obviously once you get it out, you can do what you want with it. Bring it into Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, Map Tools, Realmworks, print it off, whatever you want to do. The important thing is that the end result, if you created a map and in a relatively short period of time. So, look guys, that's Cosmographer 3, and that was a quick run through, trying to show you guys as efficiently as possible how to make a quick spaceship. I mean, I'd be pretty happy to play with this, to be honest. I think my players would be happy to play with it. It gives me everything I need. And if it doesn't, you know what? I've got the add-on for CC3 Plus to make whatever the hell I like, from space stations to spaceships to regional worlds. I don't know. Do whatever they want. Anyway, this is Cosmographer 3. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you do find these videos useful, please do subscribe to my channel. I'm looking to try and attract at least another 300 subscribers to get YouTube back in my good books. And apart from that, guys, if you've got anything you would like to see me make, please do let me know. You can always reach out to me on Facebook. I'm very active in the Campaign Cartographer 3 user group. Within Facebook, there's about heading on 700 of us in there. I think we're at 650 around at the moment. There's new users, there's old users. They're very helpful. Come in and ask your questions and get the help you need to make better maps. So that's all there is for today. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will speak to you guys on the forums.